Hello, my name is Helen. You probably can't tell, but I am considered a senior. I know, I can't believe it either. To me, that's poppycock. I have been told more than once that I look like someone's hot young mom. Well, it is what it is. Anyways, I am really pissed off. Something happened to me recently that nearly gave me a heart attack. I am sitting in my rocking chair doing some knitting. Just kidding! But that's probably what you were expecting me to say anyways. Actually, I was sitting at my homegirl's house doing some Jello shots and suddenly my damn cell phone rings. I answered the call because the caller ID showed it was from the Palo Alto Police Department. I immediately picked up the call because that's where my grandson William goes to school. He is a freshman at Stanford University. I am so proud of him, but more on that later. Anyways, when I answer, it is some guy with a deep official-sounding voice saying, "Is Sergeant Jackson with the Palo Alto Police Department?" He informs me that my grandson had been in a car accident. This accident had unfortunately caused injury to another driver. This other driver was a young woman who just happened to be pregnant. I must admit I was a little flummoxed, or as my grandson would say, I was totally freaking out. The detective went on to tell me that the woman and her unborn child had been rushed to a local hospital. Both were doing okay. He went on to tell me my grandson had sustained minor injuries and was in need of some minor medical attention. Because of the seriousness of this matter, an attorney was needed immediately. The officer then put my grandson on the phone. When my grandson got on the phone, he was hysterical. He kept screaming, "Nana, Nana, I need your help. Please don't tell Mum and Dad about all this. But I have been in a serious car accident and need an attorney right away. I found a guy here in Palo Alto that everyone recommends. He is a real good lawyer. He is real busy but said he could take my case immediately. However, he says he needs his retainer in cash. He said $10,000 should cover it for now." I was really starting to freak out even more. I told my grandson that I would of course help him. He thanked me profusely and handed the phone back to the detective. The detective assured me my grandson was in good hands and that they would make sure his minor injuries were taken care of. Before he hung up, the detective told me the lawyer his son was going to hire would be calling me soon. So, stay close to my phone. I hung up and was extremely upset and worried. But thankfully my friend was there and she had heard everything. She told me to calm down and take a deep breath. She was immediately very suspicious of the events that had transpired in front of her. She warned me that she had heard about these types of scams being pulled on people our age. She said it is called the Grandparent scam. She told me to call the Palo Alto Police Department immediately, before the attorney had a chance to call. She instructed me to ask for the detective who had just called me. Luckily, I had written his name down. It was Sergeant Jackson. Now I started to get suspicious because the sergeant had not left his phone number. My friend had already found the Palo Alto Police Department and was on the phone asking for Sergeant Jackson. Smiling while hanging up, she tells me I told you so. There is a Sergeant Jackson at the Palo Alto Police Department, but he is out on paternity leave with his wife and newborn son. There is no chance he's calling me from the nursery in his house. She then told me forcefully, "The next call we're making is to your grandson William." She grabbed my phone, found him in my contacts and pushed call. After 3 rings, William picked up and was whispering, "Hi Nana, sorry I can't talk long. I am studying for final exams." I quickly asked him if he was okay and he laughingly replied, "Of course, but if you keep me on the phone any longer, I might flunk my biology exam." Shortly after hanging up, I got a call from the so-called lawyer. My friend grabbed the phone and yelled thanks, but we found another lawyer and hung up. After 6 callbacks, the so-called lawyer finally stopped calling. I guess he got the message. Thanks to my friend, this crisis was averted. I was almost the victim of a grandparent scam. She dutifully informed me that this is a common scam going on nowadays. I told her the voice sounded exactly like my grandson. She told me that this was easy for scammers to do because of artificial intelligence. According to her, the scammers probably got a sample of my grandson's voice off of social media and cloned it. I told her that my phone showed the caller ID as being from the Palo Alto Police Department. She just laughed, as people do when they are trying to say how naive you are. She went on to explain that scammers use phone apps to fake caller IDs to display whatever they want it to display. I was shocked, but frankly not that surprised. Either way, I was thankful that this crisis was not real and that my grandson was okay. I didn't need to know much more than that. I am here to tell you emphatically to please be careful out there. And if you're lucky enough to have a friend or family member with some common sense, listen to them. They just may know what they're talking about. Who knows how much stress, anxiety, and money my friend had probably just saved me. Oh, before we go, I have to say how proud of my grandson I am and how he is thriving at Stanford University. And he passed the biology test he was studying for. Another crisis averted. Thank you all for listening to my story. Cheers.